Do you ever get just super hyper obsessed and focused on something and then just chew on it or stick with it for years and years? Around 2010, I started getting interested in this idea of copy trading or tracking insiders. So, the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, classifies insiders as executives in companies or people who own 10% or more of companies. And I remember going to dinner with my buddy Tony. We went and had pizza and we were talking about how could you leverage something from the internet to gain some alpha when you're trading. So the idea was not necessarily day trading, but maybe trading on a short term periods, 3 to 6 months. And he was telling me all about this guy, George Musea. He wrote this book called The Vital Few versus the Trivial Many. And they're all about how you can look at public filings that are available through the SEC, and they're called Form 4s. A Form 4 filing is a document that is required by the Security and Exchange Commission when any insiders in the company trade the stock of that company. And so I got super obsessed with building all these systems to download the data from the SEC and then process it and then pull in all the historical price data for all these different companies and then try to figure out whether or not a certain Form 4 filing had any sort of material information that you could trade on. And so I built a couple different versions of this software, some of them for school as part of school projects. And then when I was deployed to Afghanistan, I built a couple versions that would just work in the browser. And then when I came home from deployment, I was like, I'm going to track this guy down because George Musea lived in the same town that I was going to college in. And so I found out that he would give lectures once a semester or maybe once a year at this college. And so I found the professor where he was giving the lecture in that class. And I asked, can I just come and sit in on this class? And then afterwards, I went to the guy and was like, hey, I would love to work for you, do this professionally. And so I got a job by just going after this guy and just being super, super obsessed with this one copy trading thing. Every day we would look at all the Form 4 filings. We would write up our own analysis for big hedge funds, and they would use that as part of their signals for their own trading. One of the bummers while I worked there, I wasn't allowed to trade any of the things that we were recommending. And so I didn't stay too long, and I did go and rebuild a brand new version probably like 10 times. A lot of it was for learning, but also a lot of it was with this idea that I was going to somehow beat the market. It's really funny thinking back to because that was a time in my life where I was a college student and I didn't have any money. And so I just remember that period of being super hyper fixated on this one possibility or this one treasure hunt, suss out which ones are going to ultimately have some sort of material, non-public information that's in that gray area. This was one of the moments that I think I was really proud of going after something that I really wanted to. I found the guy, went to where he was, presented what I had already been working on, and asked him for a job. And all these things combined reflected tenacity and high bias for action that I have. And so another example, if you want something, go after it, go get it. You got this. Just make it happen, right? You got to take action towards your goals.